One of the things that I see trip up a lot of new video creators is how do they create their videos? I don't want to say faster, but it's more about being simple with it and easy to do so you get more in the process of creating and putting your work out there on the World Wide Web, especially YouTube. So in this video, I want to share several different things to think about to make your video process easy and simpler if you don't have a process. So let's dive in. Now, the things I'm going to share in this video are not in any particular order, but I do really believe will help you just get into that groove of creating content, which is really what it's all about, especially if you're new and maybe a little apprehensive about creating video. So let's talk about the gear you're going to use. Like, what are you going to use to actually create your video? My recommendation is use something simple, like something that you're used to, like your phone. Do not discount using an iPhone. Look, I'm an iPhone guy. That's why I always say iPhone. Do not discount using an iPhone to shoot video. My iPhone is still an iPhone 13 Pro. Does everything I need, even shoots 4K, even though I don't rarely shoot in 4K anymore just because the file sizes are so big. But the beauty about an iPhone is you've got the native camera app, but there's also some other apps out there like the Blackmagic app and the Final Cut app, which you don't even have to use Final Cut to use it, but those are really easy to use. And what they can do is take your camera in your iPhone up a notch to kind of almost make it like a real camera. I've seen this all the time. People say, all I've got is a phone. Then that is something you can use. Now, speaking of gear, another piece of gear I highly recommend. In fact, I'm going to call it as close to a perfect camera as there is, even though there isn't one, and it's the DJI Osmo Pocket 3. This has become one of my favorite cameras, my favorite pieces of gear ever. Literally, you flip the screen and in 2 seconds-ish, you're ready to record. It has 4K if you want it. It can do vertical. It can do horizontal. It even has a little built-in head, like a gimbal head. But I'm telling you, this thing can do anything, including being used as a webcam. It is that easy, it's small, you can take it with you, and it pairs perfectly with the DJI Wireless Mic 2, which you can even use to turn it on and off. So if you're looking for something maybe a little bit more than your phone, and your phone is fine, then consider the DJI Osmo Pocket 3, just because it's so versatile and it does everything you need. It's simple. You turn it on, you hit record, and you're ready to go. All right, another way is to have a place ready to shoot. So like, for example, right now I'm at my desk. Even though I'm using my M6 Mark II to shoot this, at my desk, I have everything I need, including I can even turn a light on. You see it come on right there. I have a light here. I have my camera. I have 2 mics. I actually have a Rode Video Mic Go 2 mounted on a boom, and then I also have a Elgato Wave DX mic on an arm over here, just depending on what I'm going to do. The beauty with a setup that's ready to go, all I've got to do is sit down at my desk, turn the camera on, turn the light on. It's a great light. And I'm ready to go. And then that way it cuts down on my setup time. It cuts down on a lot of different things that will just actually drag out the production. Now, maybe you don't have a setup like this. You could just do something in a corner of a room. In fact, at one point I had something called a one stand, and I'll link to that down below, where I had on one stand, a rolling stand, my camera, my mic, and my light, and I could roll it around. The key is having a place that you don't have to set up over and over again, so you can just hit record and go. All right, another way to create videos simple and easy is to use a program like Riverside, which just happens to be the sponsor of this video. You remember I mentioned about having a set space? Well, on my desk, one of the things I can do is connect to Riverside. Right now, I'm recording this in Riverside. It is so easy to set up. All you do is when you have your account, you log in, you start record, and then you can do so much. What I really love about Riverside is what you can do after the fact in their editing program. They have multi-layer editing, which allows you to do so much after the fact, like split the tracks, but then you can even go in and add stock footage. They even have music, so if you want to add music to your videos, you can do that as well. If you're using it for like a video podcast, you can go in and use the AI to change the scenes. There are tons of things you can do. One of the things I really like about Riverside is they have editing in there. So in other words, you can record on Riverside and then use Riverside to edit your video. And that's perfect, especially if you're not used to editing. You see, Riverside has a text-only editor, so you can actually go in and cut your mistakes out, and that way it will cut the video as well. Super simple. Now, if you want to check out Riverside, use the link in the description below and make sure you use my code Kevin Colby to save 15% off any paid plan. That's Riverside. Check it out today. Okay, another way is to have reusable assets. Here's what I mean by this. Let's say you have logos that you want to use in all of your videos, or you have animations, or you have certain graphics, or you have certain cuts of music. What I would recommend is creating folders. I do that a lot for logos and other things where I'll have a folder, actually on my hard drive, my external hard drive, is I have assets that I can immediately pull into Final Cut Pro where I do a lot of my editing, and I can just reuse those over and over and over again. The beauty with that is you don't have to always recreate the wheel. In fact, you could even have a default font if you wanted to. And so therefore, if you're putting your text up, it's always going to be the same font, even at the same size. As I was editing this, I remembered something else I ought to throw in about reusable assets. That can also go for B-roll. Now, B-roll is basically the video you add on top of another video. And I talked a little bit about that in another video. So like right now, this is what I would consider talking head, the A-roll. And if I show video of this camera, I'm using the DJI again for this, that would be B-roll. So another way you could do that is have a folder. Again, I do this on my external hard drive, and I can put links to the hard drives I use down below. And what I do is I put backgrounds on there or animations or just B-roll. And therefore, if I need a shot of this camera or me at the desk or something like that, I can go back and get that over and over again. I choose to do that as opposed to using a subscription service and just using generic video. So if I say, hey, a person on a computer, you probably know what that looks like. I'd rather show you me on the computer. Does that make sense? Reusable assets can be almost anything that you might want to use over and over and over again, depending on what your content is about. Another way to simplify your video process is to create a checklist. Now, I used to do this a lot when I went out and produced more videos for clients and things like that. I had a checklist of all of my gear. In fact, it was everything I had. And then I would go through and say, okay, do I need this? Do I need this? Do I need this? Do I need this? But even think about that from a production standpoint, because when you're creating YouTube videos, you've got the shooting like this, you've got the editing, you've got thumbnails to think about. You've got the optimization, then you have to upload, and there's a lot of different steps to that. So think about that. So a checklist will help keep you on track. So then later you go, oh man, I forgot to do X or Y or Z or one of those letters. But it will help you just stay on track. It doesn't have to be fancy. You could do it. I use Apple Notes. You could do Sheets, Google Sheets, or whatever it is, just to keep you on track. So the point to all of this is to create some systems like these to just help you simplify the video creation process and take some of that angst out so you can get into creating videos. It's not about creating more and more and more. It's just about helping you get more comfortable with it so you can put your gifts out there in the World Wide Web with video, especially on YouTube. I hope this helped you, and I'll see you in the next video.